Ohai. Honolulu, the city on the island of Oahu of the Hawaiian archipelago, the administrative center of the state of Hawaii and the district of Honolulu. In translation from Hawaiian of Honolulu, the protected bay, means. In the suburbs, Honolulu is the basis for the navies of the USA in the central part of the Pacific Ocean, Pearl Harbor. History. Archaeological certificates and some oral stories indicate that the first Polynesian settlement has arisen in the territory of modern Honolulu in the 11th century. Having won the island of Oahu, the King Kamehameha has transferred the royal court from the island of Hawaii to Waikiki, now the district of Honolulu. In 1804, its yacht has been moved again in 1809 to the place where now there is a business center of the city. In 1812 the capital has been moved to Caloocan. In 1794 the British officer William Brown was the first European who has swum away to the harbor of Honolulu. Russians have for the first time appeared in this area during I.F. Krusenstern Bayou. F. Lysyansky's round-the-world expedition. Subsequently the city becomes a coordination point for the merchant ships going between North America and Asia. The attempted foundation of the Russian colony and reduction of all archipelago in the Russian citizenship undertaken in 1815, 17 years by Ego Schaefer, first quite successful, has not been supported by the Russian government. In 1845 Kamehameha of III transfers the capital of the Kingdom Hawaii from Lahaina on the island of Maui to Honolulu. At it and also at his successors the city has been turned into the modern capital, such buildings as St. Andrew's Cathedral, Iolani's Palace, Aliolani Hill have been built. Today in the building the Supreme Court of the state of Hawaii is placed. At the same time the city becomes the important center of trade on islands. Descendants of the American missionaries build large enterprises in the center of Honolulu. In 1893 the Kingdom Hawaii has stopped the existence. Islands were a part of the USA in 1898. In 1900 in the city there was a major fire as a result of which the bulk of local Chinatown, about 15 hectares of the territory, has burned out. As a cause of the fire the campaign for burning of the infected houses in the conditions of the quarantine announced in connection with cases of bubonic plague has served. In view of dense building of Chinatown, fire was quickly thrown on the neighboring buildings. More than 700 people remained homeless. In December 1941 the naval base Pearl Harbor located in the neighborhood of the city has been attacked by the Japanese carrier force during the Hawaiian operation. In the years of World War II the city was one of the main centers of supply of the American forces on the Pacific Tavis. The subsequent development of the city is connected with the tourism industry. Geography and climate. Honolulu is located on a lee of the island of Oahu, occupying all territory between the ocean and Ridge Kula, which represents the part of a slope of a crater of an enormous volcano which has survived since ancient times. According to classification of climates of Japan, the city is in a zone of a tropical climate of savannas. However, rainfall drops out a little, thanks to effect of a rain shadow of Kula, and a damp and dry season are expressed indistinctly and smoothly flow each other. In Honolulu it is almost all the year round solar. Within 12 months temperature drops insignificant. Average monthly maximum temperature is 27-32 C, and average monthly minimum -18-24 C. Very seldom stem of thermometer rises to a mark 35 C, and minimum temperature can fall to a mark 14-15 C no more than 2 times in a year at night. The most high temperature of 35 C has been registered in the period of an abnormal heat in September 1998. Later on the same day, the most high temperature in the territory of the state on the island of Nika has been registered. The lowest temperature has reached 8.11. 7 C on February 16, 1902 and on January 20, 1969. Water temperature at the coast is 27 C for summer months and 25 C during the winter period. Annually in the city 430 form of rainfall, which in most cases fall on winter months since October to the middle of April, drop out on average. In the summer, insignificant precipitation drops out. On average in Honolulu there are 278 solar and 90 rainy days in a year. Though it is considered that in the city there is a dry season and a rainy season, it is almost imperceptible because there are small rains in the summer, and in the winter they amplify. Despite it, the identical number of rainy days is characteristic of both seasons. Though the city is in a tropical zone, hurricanes are considered as an unusual occurrence. The last hurricane which has fallen upon the territory of Hawaii has been registered in 1992. The fourth category has been appropriated to the Hurricane Iniki. A tornado also a rarity, and usually they fall upon islands of times in 15 years. The water tornadoes arising near the coast to some extent are more widespread phenomenon and fall upon the city each 5 years. In the city, diplomatic missions, consulates of the following states are located: Australia, Marshall Islands, Federal States of Micronesia, Philippines, Republic of Korea, Japan. According to a census of 2010, the population of Honolulu made 390,738 people. Gender structure: men -49.3%, women -50.7%. Average age of citizens -41.3 years. 40 years at men, 43 at women. The share of persons is more senior than 65 years -18.1%. Ethnic structure: white -17.9%. In 1970, 33.9%. Black -1.5%. Asians -54.8%. Including Japanese -19.9%, Filipinos -13.2%, Chinese -10.4%. Hawaiians and other Polynesians -8.4%. Including Hawaiians -3.2%, Samoans -1.5%. Latin Americans -5.4%. Thus, Honolulu is the capital of the state with the smallest share white and the greatest share of Asians in the USA, and also the only capital where the share of Polynesians exceeds shares of the Afro-Americans and Latin Americans. And combined, the crime rate in the city approximately is 1/4 lower than an average across the USA, but is a little higher than Srednjegorski. Economy: At the moment Honolulu not only the biggest city and the airport on the Hawaiian Islands, but also the recognized international tourist center. Millions of tourists get on islands through Honolulu, bringing to urban economy up to $10 billion annually. Because of this favorable arrangement in the Pacific Ocean, the city is the important business, shopping and transport center connecting the East and the West. Besides, an important role in city economy is played by Naval Base Pearl Harbor and also various research and production centers. Mainly in the sphere of information technologies, creation of modern materials, medicine and biotechnologies. Business center of the city. Headquarters of the Go companies. Mokulele, Hawaiian Airlines, Island Air, and Aloha Air Cargo are located in the city. Before the termination of the activity, the main offices of Aloha Airlines was located in Honolulu. Some time span the local airline Mid-Pacific Airlines was based on the territory of Honolulu International Airport. In 2009, the cost and rent of housing in Honolulu has on average grown by 4.5%. Since then the city takes the second place on high cost of the real estate market among 210 American agglomerations. As in Hawaii, branches of the largest national banking networks are not open, tourists and locals use services of various local banks. The biggest and old banking institution in the territory of the Hawaiian Islands is First Hawaiian Bank. The main office of bank is in a skyscraper of First Hawaiian Center, the highest building in the state. Transport. The city is served by Honolulu International Airport. One of the most loaded airports, located in 5 kilometers to the northwest from the business area and being in the USA, with an annual passenger turnover about 18 million people. Data for 2011. From the airport scheduled services to all main cities of North America, several cities of Japan and Australia and also to Manila, Shanghai, Taipei and Auckland are made. 3 main directions: Tokyo, Los Angeles and Seoul. The airport also provides the message with a set of settlements of the Hawaiian Islands and Oceania in general. City bus. Honolulu carries a title of the leader, sad for citizens, in traffic jams among the cities of the USA, at the end of the order having outstripped in it Los Angeles. On average, drivers will see off every year in traffic jams of 58 hours. The roads conducting to the western suburbs are especially problem. At the beginning of the order have been developed and plans for construction of the 32-kilometer branch of light rail transport connecting the center and the west of the city, but, because of a lack of money and protests, green have begun to be implemented. Construction constantly was delayed. The current world crisis has at all called the termination of the project into question. Opening of the movement is postponed since 2015 for 2019. Formerly, Honolulu is a part of a system of interstate highways of the USA. Through it there pass interstate highways of Interstate H-1 and Interstate H-201. In practice, for obvious reasons, it is impossible to pass on these roads to other states. Public transport is provided by 110 bus routes under control of the T-Bus company. The system of Honolulu public transport twice, in 1995 and 2001, admitted the American Association of Public Transport to the best in the country. Cultural institutions. The highest building of the state, First Hawaiian Center, is built with use of architectural elements in style of the wild nature. There is a gallery of the museum Contemporary Museum. In the main museum of Honolulu, the Museum Bishopa, there is the biggest collection of paleontologic samples in the state. In the museum, the world's largest collection of the artifacts connected with the Hawaiian and Polynesian culture is provided. The Zoo Honolulu is the main zoological establishment on the Hawaiian Islands, and Waikiki Aquarium, the operating laboratory on studying of biology of the ocean. The laboratory closely cooperates with the University of Hawaii and other universities worldwide. In Botanical Gardens of Honolulu, Foster Botanical Garden, Liliuokalani Botanical Garden and Walker Estate are engaged in cultivation of plants from different parts of the world. Created in the 1900th year, Symphonic Orchestra Honolulu is the oldest symphonic orchestra in the USA to the west of the Rocky Mountains. Among other collectives performing classical works, it should be noted Hawaii Opera Theatre. Honolulu is considered also the center of traditional Hawaiian music. The main concert venues of the city: Hawaii Theatre, Waikiki Shell, the multipurpose Neo-Blaisdell Center complex with the concert hall and a site for various sporting and Massachusetts events. In Honolulu, several art theaters, the most known of which Diamond Head Theater work. In Honolulu, institutions in which it is possible to get acquainted with various works of art are located. In Art Museum of Honolulu, the biggest collection of works of the Western and Asian art on the Hawaiian Islands is provided. In Shangri's Estate of Law, the biggest collection of exhibits of Islamic art is collected. In the museum there is a movie theater which bears a name of the famous American collector and philanthropist of Doris Duke. There take place displays of masterpieces of world cinema and also movies and video of works of the directors working in style and art house. In the Museum of Modern Art, the only collection of works of the modern art in the state is provided. Exposure is located in two places. The main building of the museum is in the region of Makiki, and the multi-level gallery is in the center of Honolulu, in the building of First Hawaiian Center. In a collection of the State Art Museum of Hawaii. In the downtown, works by local artists and objects of traditional art of Hawaii are collected. The museum is under control of Public Foundation concerning culture and art of the state of Hawaii. Every year in Honolulu there passes the Hawaiian International Film Festival. Within the festival, the best movies by directors of the countries of the Pacific Rim are shown. The festival, which there takes place in stylistics, the meeting of the East and West, is the biggest event such in the USA. Favorable environmental conditions of Honolulu are ideal for sports activities all the year round. In 2004, the Men's Fitness magazine has given Honolulu the rank of the most sports city in the USA. In Honolulu there pass 3 large run competitions on the highway. Annually about 2,000 people, from whom 2/3 are residents of Japan, take part in a marathon of Honolulu which starts on the second Sunday of December. Honolulu Triathlon is the Olympic distance on a triathlon and is carried out by the USA Triathlon Organization. Since 2004, competitions annually take place in May, though in the city there is no specially equipped route for a sprint distance. The first competitions and the first World Cup in a triathlon of Ironman Hawaii have been held to Honolulu in 1978. Several spectacular sports are popular in Honolulu. In the city there are a lot of admirers of the local teams participating in the American soccer, volleyball, basketball, rugby competitions, to a rugby league and also baseball. Within the program of the University of Hawaii in Manoa, the American soccer competitions among teams of high school are especially popular. In Honolulu there are no own professional teams. In the past in the city trained teams on baseball, Hawaii Islanders. The Pacific League, 1961-1987. To the American soccer, the Hawaiians. World League of the American Soccer, 1974-1975. To soccer, Team Hawaii. North American Football League, 1977. And to Hawaiian Islanders 5A side. F 2002-2004. The National Association of Student Sport organizes in Honolulu playoff series matches for the Cup of Hawaii. Since 1980, annually in February the National Football League plays Pro Bowl All-Star Game in the city. Though in 2010 the match has been played in Miami, the match of 2011 has been played Honolulu again. From 1993 to 2008 in Honolulu there took place matches of League Hawaii Winter Baseball in which the players of the lowest leagues acting in the main baseball league, Professional Baseball League of Japan, Professional Baseball League of South Korea and Independent Baseball Leagues participated. Also far. Write comments. Read comments. Interesting people will tell interesting stories. All of good mood and good luck.